This office is for the management of the project, that is the Koboko-Yumbe-Moyo project. I'll give you an overview of the project, how it started and where we are. Then we will get into other areas of interest later. This project came mostly because of an interaction between government of Uganda and the refugees. Uganda has been hosting refugees more than since independence. It has been hosting refugees in various parts of the country, and this has not been forgotten. It is why cumulatively UNHCR, which is a UN body, and the World Bank also, which is as well a fraternity of the UN, decided that of all the other countries, Uganda is actually a good performer in lines of hosting refugees. And other projects that the World Bank has been so far funding, which were loans actually, aggregated all together, led to this one becoming a grant. A grant meaning that there is no interest to it because of the refugee hosting aspect and the districts that are hosting being deprived of some of their resources because the refugees are resident in those districts. And in that way, there is a need to assist those districts in terms of infrastructure, in terms of livelihood, social aspects, and environment aspects. Now, the procurement of this project started in 2020, I would say. Some of those documents are at Ministry of Finance level, at strategic level. But I would concentrate on giving you the Unra aspect of it, where now we the implementing come into play, because we have a full team which dealt with that level. And now we are at a point of contract management. The total grant on the bank side, which is they call it IDA, International Development Agency, is 125.8 million USD. And the government of Uganda is going to also put in 20 million USD. That is mostly for land acquisition, the settlement of people, trying to make sure that the road area is free of encumbrances, so that the money which is given for the road can do the work. But also, we are trying to strengthen any implementing agency in Uganda, especially in this case, which is Unra, to be able to handle such kind of projects. Because how you manage World Bank projects is not the same as how you manage the usual projects which are GOU funded. There are more stringent policies, strategies, and commitments, and even they call them covenants, that we will get to agree before the money comes in place. So in that way, we need to be trained and helped to know how to implement. So there is that part of institutional strengthening. Then there is also the part of actually road safety. We have realized that there's a lot of accidents. People are not aware of how they should behave on the road. Not only in West Nile, everywhere. the police reports really show that Uganda, there is high prevalence of road safety incidences. So that is also a component. Then there is another component which is now emergencies. You know, here, this was a war-ravaged area, which now we're bringing a project. And we should expect that at any one point in time, these things are not fully cleared, irrespective of the presence of NGOs who are actually addressing those issues on the permanent or on the temporary. But we also come to contribute in the addressing of those issues. So we also said, yes, let it have a component where if there is any emergency that needs to be funded to remove issues which are in that area. For example, we have just been informed of some ordinance which got detonated by children, and one was lost. So we are going to handle that and see how we can bring that in the emergency area so that we can sweep out the road on the mining issues. So those are the kind of things which enter into the emergencies. So that is the structure of how the monies are going to be used. But the biggest part is in the civil works, making the road. Now I would like to concentrate on the civil works, the contractor, and we have also the consultant who is going to supervise them, and we have, of course, Unra, the project implementation unit, whose office is where you are now. There is the issue of how and why is it taking long for the road to, the real works to begin. Generally, as I've told you, that management of World Bank projects, donor-funded projects generally, you have to first come up with all those covenants that you signed. You should first comply to them before you start anything. Among those covenants, we said before we start anything, we should make sure that the environment, social issues, and management plans and impacts, the documents required should first be approved by the bank or a no objection by the bank. So that is what is actually keeping the road not to start as yet. We are in a back and forth. I would like to congratulate the country office of the bank. They have been very, 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 very helpful, because immediately we developed those documents, which is just 3 weeks behind. We have already got an approval of one of them, though with some conditions, but the conditions are not so stringent. That is what is called the Contractor's Environment and Social Management Plan. It has been approved with the conditions. What does it mean? It means that along the road, activities can begin. However, you see, if you have been given that, please, you go, the football field is free for you to use. But if you are a player, you know you go and play football when you have the shoes, when you have the kits, you have to put on as a football player. So where you are going to get those kits, those shirts and the rest is what we call auxiliary sites. Auxiliary sites is any other establishment apart from the road, the quarry, the campsite, where you're going to get material from. Okay? Those plans have not yet been approved. So you will realize that as much as we have been allowed to move along the road, that's why we are doing forward maintenance. That's why you can see machines trying to make good some very bad spots. But we cannot come out clear and say, this is where we have parked our machines, this is where we are doing our things, this is where we are testing, this is our borrow pit. So that element is not yet approved, and at least we have submitted for the proposed campsite, and we are going to now submit for the proposed quarries and the proposed borrow pits. Those two are not yet submitted. But the proposed campsite, which is in Yumbe, we have submitted. So if that one now gets approved, then we will have a home. The contractor actually will have what? A home where he now puts his equipment, where he now does his good office, where people who want employment will come. The offices are all set. Now those are called they are not only restrictions, but they are called covenants. And you know the word covenant is very strong. That if you don't follow a covenant, you can easily lose the money. Now, if you are the one who is managing the project, I think however much stubborn you would want to be, you will think that you better follow the covenants so that the whole nation doesn't lose almost $130 million as a grant. Not even as a loan, as a what? As a grant. So that is what we are having a bit of a niche on. That the outlook appears as if nothing is what? Going on. But we are actually protecting the money, and we are only remaining with like 2 approvals like this. 2. Out of almost 25, we are remaining like this 2. So that you can see everything moving on well. That is a major difference between managing a project which is government of Uganda funded and a donor funded, with new aspects of environment and social safeguards. Now, further to it, the convincing that the government of Uganda did towards having this grant allows for more money to come in. And we don't want to spoil it at the beginning. We better be cool so that we can get more and more. We have been reliably informed by the bank that we can get more, like $600 million for the country. It might not be for the road only, please. It might go to water, it might go to electricity, it might go to tourism. All the aspects of priority in the development plan, NDP 3, NDP 4. Because even activities that should have been done in the NDP 3 have not been finished. And it is affecting the sustainable development goals. It is affecting the vision 2040. It is affecting also the Millennium Development Goals. So all these things are very connected, and the more we have money within, and you know the economy, currently we are paying debts. So if you have a grant which is not a debt and has a very big basket, that means I should not look at it at project level only. I should look at it at national and international level. So our request is that you need to really understand this, so that when you are reporting in all platforms, you have the real understanding of issues. And you as a national, you will be knowing how best to help us in this aspect. We don't bias you in reporting. Please, you have a free and fair environment, but at least you need to have the background. So, with all this said, now already the contractor, to do the forward maintenance, he had to mobilize some equipment that would keep this going. You know, we have pictures when the bus has crossed the road. We have pictures when a young man with his father and a full family on a border, they cannot go ahead, they are stuck on the side. And now, even though we want this, we are waiting that the approvals be done. We are doing a disfavor already. So we ask the bank, please, on an emergency aspect, let us at least maintain this road so that it is passable, so that business continues. That's why even we want this road to be done, but we cannot keep our hands folded when the people are actually getting stuck. So the bank accepted that, okay, please do an emergency environment and social management plan, which we did, and they approved with the comments. That's how we started having the equipment, doing some work along the road, But that is not yet the real beginning that people want. So when the proposed campsite is approved, and we have some areas, borrow sources are approved, then we can be in a full swing. December 2025. I would, at this point in time, say that we have actually 1 year of implementation. Because what I see is that this remaining few months, we might have just started. The real work will catch up, like January, if I have to be realistic. Of course, we will start. I'm optimistic that end of September. I'm optimistic because those two plans, even the bank sees it, that it should start. It should be approved. So, with that time, we have taken an approach that we need to have several fronts so that we can work within the time frame. Definitely, you can see the time frame is very short. A road like this, you cannot finish it in 1 year. We have also already hinted to the bank that we will need extension, because the delays that have been occurring, you can see them, they are really delays which are not apportionable as a blame. These are delays that are in line with the stringent conditions that you have given us. If it was not those stringent conditions, you would be far much ahead. So since we are complying, and you know, to comply it takes a back and forth, writing this letter, giving a comment, this report, then change like that. That means there is time going. That precious time which has gone between the two of us. So please, we will need some time. But you see, you cannot need too much time. So we have to also be cognizant of the fact that we will need to expedite, so that the time that we are going to ask for is not going to be another like 3 years. It will be unrealistic. So I'm very sure the community and people who know about this period of time that is remaining are very jitty that maybe this money will go back. No, we know how to work around and make sure the projects are finished with the fund which has been got from the grant. However, another intervention we did is that right from the beginning of the project, the bank had given us a condition that in case we don't extend, in case we remove away the money, what is it that you will do? You have something in your basket? It's like them saying that, okay, I've given you this money, but what about yourself? What do you have in case I've left it? So government of Uganda wrote a commitment letter. They call it letter of comfort. We wrote a letter of comfort to the bank, saying that when the worst comes to the worst, we will take over the project. And that was a condition for them to allow the civil works contractor the contract to be signed. Because if we are not committed that in case of anything, we will take over from where you have stopped, then their objective of being able to help us on this grant on the road also will have not been achieved. So they were not going to release the money, especially what is called disbursement of funds. So far, you should not be disturbed so much in terms of the disbursement of funds. The bank has been very cooperative, and this one has been exceptional. That even before we have started, they had already given us $18.2 million, which we used to pay the advance of the contractor. So it is not finance which is stopping the contractor to go ahead. It is these covenants which are remaining. The moment this is done, the man will mobilize new, semi-used and used equipment, all which are functioning, and start the work. We paid him the advance. On top of that, we asked even another 16.6. The bank still gave us that $16.6 million. So a total of 34.4 is with us. You see, the money should move away from the bank and should come to us. So that in case they're saying ABCD, at least we have something. Now, again, being prudent, knowing the circumstances of our nation, the country, we are having a lot of financial hitches. We, the project implementation unit and Unra, I would say Unra asked again the bank, irrespective of that we have not done any work, but we projected that if we accelerate the work and do many fronts, by the end of December, actually June, by the end of June next year, we should be around 40 to 50% of the work done. If we have like 4 fronts, a front in Moyo, a front in Yumbe, two fronts in Yumbe and 1 front Koboko. So those are 4 fronts and we work tirelessly. Then we can get to 40 to 50% of the work by end of June. If we really start around the time I've said September, end of this very month and the end of September. So by that projection, we said no, we need to add more money so that we can wait for that. You know, when you expect dry seasons, you stock more. So that is what Unra did. We asked an additional, apart from what I've said, 51 around 0.2 there, million USDs. So if that one is given on government of Uganda side, which we thank the bank so much, we will be having around 80, 34 plus 51, so almost 86 million USDs on the Bank of Uganda designated account for this project. Why are we doing this? We are planning for any bad times. We are planning for a possibility of having no funds. We are planning for a possibility in case we never know, we don't want it, but in case any suspension occurs, we still have the money. Okay? So I'm trying to give you the comfort, which is rightfully so, that this project is being well managed, but the covenants are very strict. Too strict. I will give you an example that in this project, if any person gets an accident and it is project related, within 24 hours, that issue must have reached the bank. 24 hours, it should have reached the bank, flagged it, and then we start now seeing how to, they start checking on how, we start getting ways of finishing it up. And if it's not well concluded, it becomes an issue. Another thing, if any of the project personnel misbehaves with a lady who is below 18, and it is found to be, or even disorganizes a family, the wife of someone, and it disorganizes, and it is brought to their attention, you can actually suspend the funds. That let's first sort this. The best thing is for us first to tell the bank that please, this aspect has occurred. Let us first, we are still sorting it out, but please let the other aspect of the project continue. So they say when you have been assisted, you should not abuse the assistance. That is what we are trying to do. So all this said, in summary, which I will give my colleagues to add on, is that since we are having a mission on the 10th of September, we won't have a World Bank mission. They are coming here to see how we have complied, how the project is moving. So you can clearly see that if they get any kind of non-compliance, it will be a point of interest. We are organizing and we're preparing to see that we convince them further to soften, so that they should see the predicament our people are in, if they can soften and let us start and we move faster, so that people will also see that you're working. You know, even me, if I was not the one managing the project, I would be asking, but you people, you say you have started. Where is it? What you're asking is what I would also ask, rightfully. But because I'm the one managing and I've known all the processes, now I'm telling you what is. So far, there's a lot that has gone on in terms of preparation. More than 95% of people have been compensated already. Just of recent, the supplementary report, which was approved by the CGV, was being displayed and competition was going on. I think some of you, the media houses, must have witnessed along the road. They have just gone back. We have other people who are to be resettled. You know, we also realize that young people, if they have old overseas who are owners of the land, owners of the house, some of them get the money and just use it up. Then the Musee, there is another, the Musee is the one who has worked hard. So we identified some people who will build the houses for them. Now the building of those houses, I've told you, anything to deal with resettlement is going to be government of Uganda. So the money is there, it has been provided, more than 500 million for building those houses. Okay? And already they have been identified, the areas where they're going to go, they have been identified jointly with them, and this is going to go on. This is not stopping. It is something which, if an issue comes and is required in that aspect, we have to put funds to it. These are some of the covenants saying that issues of resettlement, don't stop it because you have started the project. When it comes, we see what can happen, we go on. I would like to appreciate the the 3 districts. Just see, if it was not for them being well knowledge and understanding of this project, by now I think we would be having a lot of issues in all the fronts. But they are well aware, they are very supportive of the project, and especially the locals, they waited for this road, I think, more than 50 years behind. Because if I can recollect, before I was even born, they told me that this road was asked in Obote 1 times. Not even Obote 2. It was asked in Obote 1 times, and it was a small road, but now you see that time to now. It's a very long time. So we can't lose this road for any reason. And we are being careful and we will deliver it. We have all specialists. This project has a team. If I'm to put the whole team, it's not less than 50 people. Environment specialists, GBV specialists, OSH specialists. We have gender HIV/AIDS specialists. We have too many different people coming to assist, including people on labor issues and employment issues. They are all part of this project. The team is big. On the request of our communication specialist, she said that, please, Mr. Project Manager, yes, the team is big, but since you are the one who is handling the project, the media would like to hear, especially from you, which I think it is right, because some other person might give half information, quarter information, and information which is not well coordinated to give you the full view of this. This project also has the issues of markets. Women and children, very, very important. Every district has to have, you see those roadside markets that the ladies were having? No, each and every district has to have one market. And of recent we have wrote to the districts to identify the places, they themselves identify it and tell us the locations. And from there we will get to know the numbers and the markets will be built. One thing which I would say has not been included in this project. Why? Because the reason as to why the monies came in is not aligned to it. is the town roads. Because when you say the money has come from the refugees angle, and you are trying to support the livelihood of the refugees, and you are trying to make sure that whatever pressure they have put on the resources of the districts, then you don't come to a street in the town. Because we expect refugees to be in the camp, we expect refugees to be more in the rural. We expect the refugees to have gardens, where they will dig. We expect the refugees to be relating with the person there in the village. But when he becomes an urban refugee, he is not so well rooted. Because an urban refugee can move to any other urban area. He can be in Koboko here, but transport to go to a relative somewhere. The matrix for an urban refugee is not so much impacting. So the issue of the town roads, truly it is not in this project. However, as government of Uganda, because also we have a policy which was picked from Ministry of Works and cascaded to Unra, that wherever a main road is passing, we must have, in that town, that urban setting, there must be at least some 2 kilometers for that town. So much as we have got funds from the bank, it doesn't mean we should negate our policy. So that is the angle we are now pushing on the policy aspect. That yes, you have not allowed for the roads, but let's see how we can economize this money, and if we have something out of it, we put it on the what? On the town roads. This is a negotiation we will have with the bank, which normally comes in what they call the mid-term review. In the middle of the time, because this is a period of 3 years, so after 1.5 years, which now it cannot be 1.5 years, it means it will be by June next year, around there, we should have what is called mid-term review. Now, at that point in time is when we will say, now please let's review these things. The covenant was this was included, this one was left out, even though we had requested it at the beginning. So please, now we want this, the town roads to be included. We want this to be included. Okay, even though you leave the other one. So that is when that debate will come in of the town roads. However, we have allowed the district leaderships to get ready those roads in terms of requesting, in terms of for us to have the documentation. So that when me and my bosses, we are now talking to the bank, then they will what? We will have all the necessary documentation to make our point firm enough. So Koboko submitted, Yumbe submitted, Moyo submitted. We are going to put them together. Those that may be the submissions might have not gone well, we will still tell them, please organize it well. So on town roads, that is where we are. So, and I know people have been asking about town, that's where we are. It is not included on this. Then we would like not to stop our engagements with you like today, no. Actually, we have just started. And first we want to apologize that you have been very proactive and you have been doing something good to get information. But we as the PIU, I think we have not reached out so much to the media so that you can get the right source of getting information. We agree. That one we have not done so much. But now that we have a communications person, that is Pamela, she has ignited the whole process, and now I think we are on board. The way I see, you know where to get the information. Now even you know the office. I think that's why some of you delayed. I don't blame, because if you had known where the office was, it would be easy for you to even to reach immediately. So we are starting. We are now having our engagements. Pamela will guide us on how we move ahead. But I don't want this to stop today. It should continue. We can have it regularly. We are proposing that every month we will have what is called stakeholder meetings, because we are in our meetings. There is both the technical aspect and the safeguard aspect, which we call the soft issues. Now we have realized that if we do it in one meeting, the soft issues normally override the technical aspect, and we end up spending a lot of time on technical on soft issues, and then the technical tends not to have time. So we have said, okay, let us have the stakeholder angle of it to have its own meeting. I would advise that Pamela will advise me better that in those stakeholder meetings, maybe she will organize and see how you can get involved before or after or during, because that's the area for us. We expect professionalism. She will advise accordingly. So to me, that is the brief I'd wanted you people to have, so that we see how to develop the nation together and have the right information, and also you advise us. You know, there's no one who knows everything. No one should be. Learning is a continuous process. So you advise us, you know, this one you have left out, it might bring issues. This is how it should go. In this place, this is how we handle the issues. You know, ABCDs. Because, for example, we have just realized that in these communities, every cultural aspect of it is not actually the same. When somebody comes, we think that all this is West Nile and their cultural aspects are the same. No. Everyone has a way to handle issues. And now also learned that there's an issue called Idumapiri. So I have to tell my people that please be mindful. So these are the things you get to know, and it can bring down the project. As small as it appears, it brings down the project.
More than 10 years to manage road projects, water projects, and building. So that's the quality is our community credit. So when we do this project, we will follow the specification. This is for quality. Second is for the equipment. No, when we bidding for this project, the contractor should have existing equipment. The existing equipment should satisfy with the type and the quantity. So it's not to say if you add a contract, you don't have any equipment, you can't bid for this project. And also the contractor not a requirement. So you must buy all the equipment. They should buy new. So for this project, we have existing equipment, and we also have the plan to make the purchase order for the new equipment. And on site, some equipment are parking on site. You see, maybe like the glass is broken, the printing is bad. It's just the normal maintenance. For example, like we sell vehicles, like the mirror is broken. You will replace new. If the printing is bad, you will also you will also repair it, printing it. So just the keep patient. Once the campsite be approved, we will start just deliver more equipment and also make the purchase order for the new equipment.
My name is Mukara Zedori, the site agent. Concerning the demands of which may come from local leaders or others for kickbacks and what. First of all, we want to present that Zongmei Engineering Group, together with Unra, as Unra presented, is a corrupt-free and open entities. So, even in our contract, we have to sign a declaration of how we shall avoid, or how we, in our policy, we don't entertain corruption. So that is the first thing in terms of policy and in terms of our commitments, which we already made with the Unra. Then another one is there is no reason for us to give kickbacks to the local authorities. Well, we are working within their area, but they are not our employers. So what do we want from them in case, even if there is any interest to give them kickbacks? So this we don't expect. If it is requested to us, this is some of the things that we shall reject outright because of those reasons. We have commitments signed to be a corruption-free and a fair entity, and also we don't have a reason to give anybody any kickback.
Why I ask this is because of, we've seen quality of roads that are compromised because of these issues, but also if you are doing asphalt concrete, and then we see a road that is not going to meet the standard of asphalt concrete. So obviously, an ordinary person like me, on behalf of community, will ask, where did the money allocated go if you're doing substandard road compared to the design? In Uganda, we say layers of roads are sacrificed to leaders, and then we do, if there were to be 10 layers, we do 5. If there are to be 5, we do 3, and then the road doesn't last. That's the reason we're asking that question, whether you will stand the test.
Okay, your reason which you have asked is valid, but we don't expect kickbacks to local leaders to be any factor in the quality of the road. First, we don't expect it to be there, and our plan and arrangement that it's not there. But there are other measures that we must put in place. They could be even just negligence. Nobody has paid you any money, but you are negligent. Or you are unskilled, unqualified, you are on the job. So, those are some of the reasons why you may get poor quality work. The other reason local is there also, probably on some other project, but on this project there are measures to completely take it out. Now, we have a quality management regime which is also embedded within our contract. We have a supervising consultant. I may be unable to go through all the things, but there are certain tests that must be done on materials, tests that must be done on the work itself, which is completed. There are also vetting of employees of the contractor. All of us you see here, we have been vetted by that supervising consultant. We have been vetted by Unra to all that to mitigate the risks of bad work. And in any case, if there is any bad work, our contract requires us to redo it at no additional payment. And in addition, when we finish the work, because some errors or some bad parts of the work may not be seen immediately, there is a defects liability period, which in simple terms you may call as a guarantee period. Again, if there is any bad work discovered, or it may expose itself, because for me I always say the road speaks for itself, like you have mentioned those other roads. The road speaks for itself. Then we must correct those defects at no extra pay.
Man, I'm looking at West Nile with a full pocket, because the pockets of the World Bank will be full. Now, if what they see is distasteful with the full pocket, I can guarantee you it will be very difficult to convince again that such kind of money is coming here. Because if the first grant, worldwide grant project gets issues, then they say, oh, I think this pilot, for him to do just this, for him to very so one statement like this pilot project has given us risks. The risk level have increased. Actually, in the project appraisal document, one of the major documents, they have said this is a high risk project. It is in red, right from the beginning, before even any work. So after red, which other color comes in? It is black now. We can't go ahead. So meaning that anything which will help it to go beyond high risk is enough to say, no, this is a risky venture. And that is how we will not be disbursed money. And that is how somebody will say, now, this thing here, this is how it has gone. you will not know where to turn your head. Yet there is a lot of money coming. I'm not saying that we will not get instances which bad things happen. It is natural. But when we work together, we will know how to handle it. And it has been happening. You know, Kamwenge was suspended. And then eventually we finished. IRS did very many things happened. I managed the Albertine. And that's why you see I've been brought to manage here. The whole of Albertine, the projects there which are donor funded, I managed it. And it was a success. And they got their roads. You can see the roads in Unyoro. I think you're seeing it. So why doesn't it come to West Nile? So in that way, it is only when I work with you people very well, then the money will come. Me, when I leave and go to where I stay, I will be, I say, yeah, my colleagues, people are okay. So then when opportunity knocks, it doesn't knock twice. That's what I want to say. Thank you.
Okay. Especially with the politicians, they are not accountable. They are not so much accountable on what they will say. But what I've told you is what is. That we are the ones who told them to come up with the what? The list. They even had meetings in their district meetings. I think they even selected. So, but for them, the process has become the reality. You know, it is the process that we have told them to do, that please select, so that when the time of coming, when we're coming out to select with the bank, it is not something which again other people will say, why didn't you include this road? Why didn't you do that? So they selected and we came up with lists, and the lists are with us. But doesn't mean that it is included. We are only just trying to say that we must make sure our policy, that I said it should be also considered at mid-term review. So that's when at mid-term review we will develop our case to include the what? The town roads in any aspect, whether government of Uganda or the bank money. We want to get a way of including, because that has been the way we have been doing it. As you said, you traveled in very many places. You see every town, they add plus the town roads. Every main road plus the town roads. Why should it not be here? So it is not included, but we are going to vouch for it. The other part of the road, is the road going to be a good one, and the kickbacks? This question should have been answered by the consulting engineer. The contractor also knows about it, but since the design is ours, it's a Unra design, I think let me answer that one. This road, the total width is going to be, the lengths are going to be 3, and then we have shoulders of 1.5, 1.5. So if you put all together, you are going to have a total of 10 meters wide road. Okay? So that width is standard. It is for inter-district road. It is for a national road. That is a design for a national road. So it will be wide enough. Now, the right of way in the rural areas allows us to do more than the right of way in the urban areas. In the rural areas, what we acquire to do work in is 50 meters, meaning from the middle of the road 25 to the middle of the road 25 until the front of the houses of people. So whoever is within that 50 width is the one who has to leave, compensated, go behind. So we can do anything within that 50. That is where we can have a roadside station. We intend to add a roadside station where when you have moved some distance, then is where you park the trailer, you park, you rest, you look at the good scenery. We are trying to see where along the road where we can have a roadside station. So those facilities are there. Rural areas, we have a wider right of way. So we can do extra than the 10, but it might not be extra, which is the road. You can be extra as other extra, like where people sit. But the road itself, 10, which is a good width. And I think with this one, I think it was a close width, but don't think it is a 10. This one will be 10. Yes, that's the width. The quality of the road. If I'm to liken it, not to talk like an engineer, but to talk like somebody who can give a good comparison, which everyone will understand.
This road is going to be similar to the road which is from Chigumba to Masindi. If you have ever used that road, it's going to be similar to that in all aspects, and that is a very good road. That is if I'm to be not to go too much engineering. Yes.
But usually there's a mention of asphalt, concrete, this.
Yes, asphalt. That road is
maybe
an asphalt.
what name is going
It's
to
an asphalt concrete road. Just as that's what I said. The other one, there's an asphalt concrete. Is going to be asphalt concrete. Yes.
The lifespan.
So it is also similar to that now you have said about Yak. Because the other Yak also is asphalt concrete.
Maybe could you also embed the issue of how many bridges are going to be constructed on the road?
Now you have Baringa. You know Baringa. You see there is a bridge which should branch off the road going to the refugees. Baringa. That bridge is included. That bridge is included. It is not on the main road, but it's included. Okay? And even people have been compensated, but they're telling me that the people along that road reaching that bridge, between the main road and the bridge point, they are saying they're not compensated. We will find out, but they have been compensated.
In which district is that?
Isn't it Yumbe? Yumbe, yeah. Yes. Yumbe. And they've been compensated. But we will see where, in case maybe the alignment where they compensated might not be in line with where they should have compensated. That is something for us to handle. So that bridge is going to be there. Then we are going to have several box culverts. You know, a bridge is not necessarily the bridge that you see. Anything which crosses over an opening is actually a bridge. Sorry for going a bit technical. So, but the box culverts are actually bridges. That long swamp is not going to be raised a bridge up. No, we are going to have box culverts at all the areas. Areas which have a larger opening will be also larger. So we will have to work all through that swamp. And this road doesn't have much areas which require bridges, because even the bridges that are existing are already good enough. That's like the one of Kochi is good enough. The only thing is that its width is not going to be the same as the width of the road. The way I've seen it, it's a bit. Yeah, so we will chamfer it, you know, like you do like that, then the road is larger. Yes, that is why we are thinking of this old one. If we can improve this one on the side. Yes. Yes. So that pedestrians, bicycles, if they can use that, we are thinking of improving that instead of demolishing it, because we have recognized that this one is a bit narrow. Yeah.
The lifespan of the how long?
The road, normally we design roads for 15 years to 20 years. That is without maintenance. But when it is well constructed, it can go 30 years. Okay?
Why not 100?
No, we are not very rich. You see, we can do roads which are even 200 years, but we are not very rich. The Europeans did their roads 200, 100, or even 500 years using African resources, if you can realize. They made theirs not to be touched, but they used.
An economist will ask how viable will this be economically if we were to pay this money back to the World Bank.
No, every it's a grant, first of all. The SPL payment is not there. That's what you should know. But every road has what is called an economic analysis. So what an economic analysis means that if the rate of return, that if you analyze and decide, you see that this investment will be able to give back the value, not necessarily money. You know, value is not only money. Will be able to give back the value in a rate of 12% per year, which is a good investment. So this one comes to that. Okay? So meaning that economically, not necessarily money, I need to emphasize that the value that you will derive when it is finished is more than 12% for every year. Yeah, so that answers all that. But also it is a grant, It is not going to be paid back.
What is the percentage for locals in terms of work?
Oh yeah. Generally, there is a policy of 30% local content. Generally, 30% local content. But we have tried to, within the project, please don't say it's a policy, that one. This is within the project. We have tried to say if you can step it to 60. So that you get more. And we have started it already, by the way. Have you ever come in a project and you have found that one of the top management of the contractor is a Ugandan? This man sitting with me is a site agent. Normally you will find a Chinese being a site agent. Okay? And most of the people that are employed on their site are going to be Ugandans and locals from here. So we are trying to step it up to 60%, but local content in terms of the value of the contract and what has gone directly to local must be at least 30%. So there are going to be subcontracts and all those things. We have already made that. It is going to come. So we have considered the local content. But whoever is going to be employed should be able to have the skills and should do the work. Because I know my people very well. You will employ the person, he will say good words, he will say very good CV, then come to the work. You will say, you see, my brother is a team. He's Alex. Yeah? I'm not going to do this work. No. You do your part. Yeah? Give the value required. So when you get such kind of people who don't want to do the work, who don't want to assist the project, even though they are employed, no. The discussion is the contractor. As I told you, we had engagements and we say, please, we want people who are upright in the community. And it's the district leadership who know people who are upright. They let us agree. Whether LC1, LC2, LC... They all know that this man here. But of course, we also know the other aspect, that he will put around his people. But that is something which is really very difficult to eliminate in the African setting. Okay? So we allowed them to, yes, you get whatever, but doesn't mean that it is a direct ticket for you to be employed. Because when the camp is set and is beginning, those very applications and others who will become indirect will be considered equally. Okay? Not because you are given to the LC5 or somebody whom you know, then yours will have priority. No. If that person has a better skill and he has come direct to the camp and he has submitted and his application has been received, he will go through the same testing. Okay? But definitely we will pick those ones which have already been received and look through. The human resource manager for the contractor will handle that. Yeah.
To supplement what you said about
those affected, relocation, how many people? There's that question of the people whose houses.
The ones for the houses. There are 6. Yeah, the 7th one, yeah. There are 7. And all of them are in Yumbe, I think. If I can remember. All of them are in Yumbe.
More than 2 years to many road projects, water projects, and building. So that's the quality is our company's credit. So when we do this project, we will follow the specification. This is for quality. Second is for the equipment. No, when we bidding for this project, the contractor should be have existing equipment. The existing equipment should certify with the type and the quantity. So it's not to say if you add contract, you don't have any equipment, you can't bid for this project. And also the contractor not a requirement. So you must buy all the equipment. They should buy the new. So for this project, we have existing equipment and we also have the plan to make the purchase order for the new equipment. And on site, some equipment are parking on site. You see, maybe like the glass is broken, the printing is bad. That's just the normal maintenance. For example, like we sell vehicles, the mirror is broken. You will replace new. If the printing is bad, you will also you will also repair it, printing it. So that's the key patient. Once the campsite be approved, we will start just deliver more equipment and also make the purchase order for the new equipment.
Dedicated to our project team, the safeguards team, to pick it up and we call it an incident management process we have started. But we are not going to stop at incident management. First and foremost, it is not a project-related incident because it has not involved the project personnel, but it is in the project area. So since it is in the project area, we will of course intervene, and it is within the right of way. But the whole environment, the project area is wide. So we have already taken that. We are going to do it as an incident, and we have already communicated with the RDC of Moyo that in the next security meeting, which they say occurs every first week of the month, around there, we want that to be an item of discussion, so that the resolution that will come out of there and our incident report, we'll put it together, and then we get a way of intervening in terms of sweeping the whole road, making it miles free. It might not be only along the road. If resources allow, we can go beyond the road, because we're going to have where we're going to get material, borrow pits. We're going to have quarry sites which are far. But the benefit is that we can make communities also benefit from this intervention. So it is not a project related, but we are documenting it, and we are going to also have the district security committee meeting, have it as an item of concern, so that from that meeting and resolution, their minutes normally go to the National Security Council. So it will be something which we can tag on, and we make sure resources come on the component of emergency, which I had told you one time at the beginning of my presentation. If we can get resources from there, then we might sweep the place, so that everyone can benefit in that way from the project, live along the road. Yes. So the second one is the terrible road. Already we have been allowed to maintain the bad spots, make the road passable. You realize that we will keep picking bad spots. Not everywhere is that bad, because if you start doing the whole road, then you're not forward maintaining. You're actually now doing this like the feeder roads, the graveling, but yet the project is for a tarmac road. We don't want the monies which are small for forward maintenance to get consumed up, and again we enter into the money for the permanent road itself. So we'll be picking bad spots and working on them since we're almost beginning. Then when the work begins, it will be easy to maintain because that money is there.